Hi, I'm Aimee at EuroluxHome.com. Welcome back to YouTube. So I have recently shared with you that EuroluxHome.com is celebrating our 20th anniversary. We are so excited. And so I thought that I would share with you, since it's Valentine's Day too, the story of how Greg and I met. And Greg, my husband, who's a bit camera shy, is not here. So be prepared, it's a sweet story. So it all started back in 1985 when we met at summer camp at the University of Western Carolina. It was a summer camp for dorky, geeky kids, and we were 13 and 14 years old, which means that he has been a best friend of mine for nearly 40 years. Now, back then, 1985, I was a super introverted 13-year-old. I know you may not believe that, but I was so shy, I couldn't even answer the phone or answer the door. And my mom thought, you know what, I really need to get this kid some social interaction. And we're going to push the envelope and send her to a month-long camp in North Carolina. And I grew up in Florida. So that was a really big transition for me. And Greg was very extroverted. You may not believe that since he's not here with me today. But he had been to this summer camp already for 2 years. And so he already knew everyone and felt very comfortable. So the first night of camp, they had a dance and for all of the attendees. And that's when I remember meeting Greg for the first time because he already knew everybody. He was all relaxed, but he didn't actually remember meeting me at that time. Now, a few days later, the camp took us to a carnival. And this is the moment that Greg does remember meeting me because I was standing at the bottom of a Ferris wheel. And I think he was kind of trying to put the moves on because he walked up and he said, "Hey, would you like to ride that Ferris wheel?" And I said, "Yeah, I would love to ride the Ferris wheel." And he said, "But you have to promise not to rock it because I'm actually very uncomfortable with heights." And the truth is, Greg is terrified of heights. But that shows he really thought I was cute. But anyway, I said, "Well, of course I won't rock it, I promise." And so we get in the Ferris wheel and they take us up and we stop at the top. Well, of course, what do you think I did? I was rocking that Ferris wheel. I mean, with everything I had, I was rocking us back and forth. And Greg was holding on with white knuckles. He was so scared. And that's his first memory of me. And he didn't learn. But anyway, so throughout the years, we ended up going to that summer camp for 3 years in a row, and we had so much fun, but we didn't date. We were really just buddies. We really had just a great connection, and we started writing letters. At first, we wrote letters every couple weeks, and then months, and then it got to be where, you know, the older we got, it was maybe once a year for a birthday or Christmas, and then the internet came about, and I was at Florida State University, and you could get a free email account. I didn't even know what email was, but it was free, and it was a new thing, so I thought I'd sign up. And do you know, my very first email that I got was from Greg. And he, being a big computer geek, had already been on the internet and had email, but as soon as I popped up, then he sent me a message. And I just think that's so sweet that we ended up owning an e-commerce business together, and my very first message over the internet was from him. So by 10 years after the last year of camp, so this is now 1997, I got a call one day out of the blue, and Greg says, "Hey, I really am planning to come to Florida to see spring training baseball." He just loves baseball. "And can I stop in and see you?" And we hadn't seen each other for 10 years. And I thought, yeah, that'd be great. And so it was like a day had not passed. I have to say, Greg makes me laugh so much. And we just laughed and laughed and laughed, and we had such a great time, and we just reconnected as adults. And so even though I was in grad school at Florida State University and Greg was in law school at the University of South Carolina, we decided that we would start dating. And so we dated long distance for 3 years, and I kind of thought he probably was the one, but I probably should live in the same state first and make sure. And so I quit the job I loved and moved to South Carolina. And it was the right decision. And so we got married 16 years after we first met at summer camp in 2001. You know, my very favorite movie is When Harry Met Sally. And it's kind of like when Sally says, sometimes you just know, the way you know a good melon. Greg's a good melon. So when I was a little girl, my dad used to always make me practice and say, I want to elope. I want to elope. Dads, this is a good tip for you. Practice with your daughters. It'll save you a lot of money. So we decided we would elope to Hawaii, and we had it all planned, booked. That's what we were doing. And then we told our families, and the moms got really sad. And we couldn't do that to the moms. And so we had a surprise wedding locally, just very small, just immediate family. And it was very sweet. I told you that this was a really sweet story. In fact, I always say we had to get married just because the story was so sweet. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks so much for helping celebrate our 20th anniversary at euroluxhome.com. Like this video, subscribe, maybe share it with a friend. See you next week.